Hi, you're welcome to the Inspired Reader podcast show.
Welcome to our first episode on the podcast show for book readers, the Inspired Reader podcast show, where we're going to talk to a lot of interesting people about a lot of interesting topics, specifically around the book world. In today's episode, we are going to dive into a book called The Atlas Shrugged through the lens of a very interesting person, a remarkable leader through Toastmasters. My guest is an accomplished IT professional. She has over 15 years of experience and an IIM Bangalore alumna. She's been recognized as a woman achiever by the Hindu and the Times of India. And she's an AI consultant, also the area director for Toastmaster, currently living in Bangalore. So together, we're going to explore a lot of ideas from this book. We're going to take the Ayn Rand's classic book, Atlas Shrugged, which is a huge book, and what it means in today's world. So sit back and enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of Finding People Who Read Books and Books That Inspired Them. So today I'm thrilled to be speaking with an extraordinary guest, a seasoned IT professional with over 15 years of experience. She's an alumna of IIM Bangalore and recognized as a woman achiever by the Hindu magazine. Beyond her impressive career, now she's working as an AI technology consultant. She's also deeply involved in public speaking as a Toastmaster and currently serving as an area director. So today we'll explore not just her professional journey, but also her insights on one of the thought-provoking books of her time that is called Atlas Shrugged. I'm so happy to have Priya with us. Hi, Priya.
Hi Raj, thank you. Thanks for welcoming me onto your show. To talk about the book Atlas Shrugged. Okay, it was written by Ayn Rand. You can see it's one of big books, close to 1070 pages.
Whoa.
Uh, I'd like to say that this book kind of transformed my life, the way we look at things and the way we do things. So it's an exceptional book. There are a lot of things that I agree with it and a lot of things I do not. But still, with a book, they don't say you have to follow or you don't have to follow, but we take the essence of things. And I'll be happy to share with you and our viewers my view on this book.
Wow, awesome, Priya. Firstly, I've never read that big book. I'm happy to have somebody who has read such long books, and I'm pretty excited to hear your thoughts about it. Firstly, let's start with understanding the theme of the book. What do you think is the central message of Atlas Shrugged?
Okay, so I would describe this book as an onion. You peel layers after layers. So if you see the first layer, there is just the story plot. When you read it once, there is a nice story that's happening. You have the important characters playing through it. So it take you through the story. You read it again or you think through it, there's another layer to it where you understand how businesses are done, what are the business tactics and business strategies. Delve into a little bit more, then you understand the human mind, how it works, how the human philosophy is in it. And further into it, there is a lot of philosophy that comes out of it. And Ayn Rand calls it as objectivism, where it talks about the individualism versus the collectivism. So there is so much in this book, and every time you read it, it hits you differently. So this is not a book that can be simply described, hey, this is the story plot, this is the theme, this is the message. Based on the context you are in, based on the culture we come from, and based on the current state of mind, we are able to perceive different things from this book.
Wow.
But having said that, if you ask me what is the one thing that would stand out, the
Yeah.
message is understanding yourself
Hmm.
and how we work as, you know, primary as a human, how we perceive and do things. And we also understand something like who are the prime movers. the creators or the innovators who make the world run.
Wow.
And also, we call them as freeloaders at IMB, but here they call us the second-handers who totally depend on these prime movers and how they are taken advantage of. So, in a gist, this is what is happening, but I'll be
Okay.
happy to share more with you on all the different layers, on all my different understandings, and I can take you through the book.
Okay, wow. So freeloaders, that's a nice catchy word. And is this
So,
is it a novel or it's a fiction or non-fiction? What exactly is this book?
this is a fiction, but it's the story is set on a fictional base. So basically, this was written in 1957 by Ayn Rand. So two books of hers are very famous. One was The Fountainhead, and then followed by this Atlas Shrugged. But however, I read this book first, so my inclination is more towards this than The Fountainhead. So this is set in a fictional era where there is a lot of economic meltdown in
Hmm.
America. And the central character is Dagny Taggart. So she's a railroad executive who's trying to run her business and the challenges that she faces and the people around her, how they try to pull her down or bring down the business, her struggles, and then how she discovers a whole new world that exists and what happens afterwards. So the central character is Dagny, and then there are a lot of characters around her. So we'll talk more on that.
Nice, beautiful. I've read only one book of Ayn Rand's. It's called We the Living. It's about
Ah,
her,
yeah,
she's a Russian American, and
correct.
she writes about the revolution after the war and everything. I've read one. It is a very small book, but now that you've shown like 1,000-page book, I don't know if I will be able to read a 1,000-page book that easily.
We
That's
the Living was
great.
one of her earlier books, one
Yeah,
of her initial set of books, the first
yeah.
two or three books, I think it is.
1936.
Then
It was, yeah,
correct. So this was in 1957, almost four, five books she had published by then. I have
yeah,
also read With Living, by the way, where
yeah.
she, I think, talks about the, central theme as a man, as being that ego,
Hmm.
discovering the self. So I
Yeah.
think her journey started from there. So in all her books, the theme revolves around objectivism. So the
Okay.
philosophy that she expounds is on objectivism.
Okay.
So what it means is, um, that we perceive things based on
Hmm.
reason. So the truth out there exists, and
Hmm.
each one perceives it differently.
Hmm.
So there is
Okay.
not one fixed thing that's, um, for everyone.
Hmm.
The same thing would be looked at differently, but it's reason is the only way to perceive, is what that she puts in objectivism. But
Okay.
again, that's her overall theme throughout all her. She has written 7 to 8 books, so
Okay.
it flows in all the different books.
Okay.
So
Okay.
here in this book, Atlas Shrugged, she talks about the relation between individuals, people, and how
Hmm.
even business and how it is manipulated, how things work in this subjectivism. So there's a lot of things.
Okay.
I know
Nice.
I'm stretching that a bit, but we'll.
Yeah. There are a lot of characters. I want to talk about characters in this book, and which character did you connect the most and why?
All right. So before going to the character, I'll tell you the story plot. I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
even the viewers will be interested to know. So this is the first layer of the onion. Okay.
Okay.
This is plain, simple story. So Dagny Taggart, she is one of the heirs to the Taggart Transcontinental, it's a railroad executive. She's the vice president of operations, and her brother James Taggart is the president. Now, it's the opposite character. Dagny is the heroine. He kind of is the villain. Not really the bad villain, but the incapable villain.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then we have Henry Reardon. Now, he is an entrepreneur, an innovator who runs a steel mill, and he even finds his own metal, okay, called the Reardon Medal. So these two are the central characters, and they struggle to keep their businesses alive with all the economic meltdown and with different government policies that are set. So then what happens suddenly is they find that the nation's industrialists, entrepreneurs, the creative thinkers suddenly start disappearing one by one. They suddenly drop out of the scene. And Dagny figures out that there is a systematic way that these guys are disappearing. Someone is behind it. And they both, so Dagny and her counterpart will be Hank Reardon. Now, there is a love plot between them. So, by the way, Hank is married to another lady. Now, Dagny is single, but she had a lover before, but then she is now single. And that plot also develops, in the sidelines. And then they both uncover this secret. Finally, there is one more central character. So this is a 3-part book, and the third part is when the character comes in, John Galt. But throughout the book, we hear his name. Even the opening of the book starts with, who is John Galt? Okay, so that mystery is carried throughout the book, and much later we get to know who he is. So he is the person behind creating this or taking away all the brains of this world.
Okay.
All right. And he's created this place, Atlantis. So it's a dream world where everything is perfect. So all these minds retire from this society and go back, and they are working there in Atlantis. So what happens then? How does is the world able to move on? Is the world not able to move on? What happens? What chaos ensues, and how things are recovered forms the rest of the story.
Okay, wow.
And to talk about John Galt.
Yeah.
So he's a guy who says, I will stop the motor of the world. And then they ask, how? By doing nothing. So he does nothing, and the motor of the world stops. Now that's what we'll get to realize. Now, in a way that the story is revolving around Dagny, or probably the way I expressed my story plot with Dagny being the central character, I think by now you know which character I align with or look up to, which is Dagny. She is one of the characters, one of the important characters, but I can relate with her, the challenges she goes through, the way she tries to solve the problems, the way she tries to be over-optimistic and overconfident in herself that she can solve any problem. I kind of relate to that
Close
character
to Dagny.
in this book.
Okay. Wow, beautiful. I mean, that's a very nice way of portraying the whole story. And I can see how your opinions could have changed as the story progressed. Beautiful. I am specifically going to ask about John Galt, because he's very the way you've explained about John Galt's philosophy. I would like to know, what do you think about his philosophy? Is it visionary or impractical?
It's an extremely true thing. Okay. So I'll just tell you the instance when John Galt is born, not the person. So he works at a factory. He's a very capable student and capable person, a physics student, and he discovers something. He discovers a motor. He builds motor, works in the R&D team. Now, before he announces that, what happens is the owner of that company passes away, and it passes to their children. Now, they are not very competent people. And they just come, they announce, they are very flamboyant, they use the money, but they're not intelligent, they're not even capable of running that company any longer. So this is a company that produces motors. Now they announce this thing. We see a lot of discrepancy in how people are paid and how people work. So what we want to do is we want to give them a very comfortable environment to work, to all of you, and we will pay you according to your needs. And everyone is happy. Now, earlier, the senior people were earning a lot of money. The guy working on the floor was earning very, very less.
Mm.
So now the workers are very happy, thinking that yes, we will get a share of what the big bosses get. Everyone appreciates it and they are like totally in for it. There's huge claps, applause, and everything. And this guy stands up and says, this is not right.
Mm.
Right? They should be paid according to what they contribute, not according
Yeah.
to their needs. Now, let's say I'm a family having 5 kids. So I'll be paid more compared to a family having 1 kid or compared to a single person. It doesn't matter what they contribute. But people don't understand that at that point of time in that
Mm.
factory. So he says, this is not right. But these guys ask, who are you to challenge? And then he says, I will stop the motor of this world.
Mm.
And he walks away. How can you stop? He just doesn't answer and he goes off. So what he has discovered is this extraordinary motor, okay, which is
Mm.
lying in the R&D room, no one knows about, is a motor that can convert air to electricity, air
Oh,
to power.
okay.
Okay. But it is
Hydropower.
such an amazing. So we know hydropower, carbon like power converting water to
Yeah.
energy, but just this right from
Air to
atmosphere, from
power.
air to power.
Wow.
Okay. It is a motor that can run the world,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's lying around. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody even cares about it. And slowly that company goes into decline. And as things start to fall down in that company,
How? Like he already discovered the motor, isn't it?
but people don't know.
Ah, how the
See,
company
there
is
was
falling.
a
What is the downfall
good
of the company?
boss, okay, who encouraged the R&D. Now people left from the R&D.
Oh,
Now
okay.
see, R&D work requires you to put in a lot of thought and discover something.
Mm-hmm.
How can that be equal to someone who's a factory laborer?
Mm.
There should not be equality
Yeah.
in based on your need. There should be
Yeah.
the equality in people. That is there. That's a different
Mm.
thing. It's not getting paid based on what your needs are. It's
Mm.
ideally
Competence should
should be
be the stuff. Yeah.
competence should be the
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
or what's your contribution. That
Contribution. Yeah.
should be the factor.
Mm-hmm.
But this talks about, let's say, this is the fictional world, right?
Yeah.
And capitalism is what is prevalent. And they bring about this change, thinking that everyone will be happy, there'll be more production. Now, how this company goes to the downfall is their competitors start doing better.
Okay.
Now, all the thought workers in the company slowly leave one by one. Who would want to work at the salary of a laborer? Only
Mm.
the laborers are finally left.
Yeah.
So the quality dwindles, everything goes down, and their competitors overtake. So every time something goes wrong, everyone is reminded of that meeting, and then where John Galt stood up and spoke against them, and slowly it becomes a phrase. Something goes wrong. Come on, who's John Galt? So that way it starts,
Mm.
and it spreads and it spreads, and it just becomes a phrase. Whenever something is wrong, or if you want to express, hey, I don't care, then this phrase is being used. Okay,
Wow.
so now this is the origin of the phrase who's John Galt and
Okay.
how this came around.
Mm.
And by the time when we come back, so this is the backstory.
Mm.
When you come back to Dagny Taggart and following that storyline, so what John Galt does is he shows the injustice, okay, to the people, the primary movers, the creators. You are doing the work, you are producing, but then others are taking advantage of it. Are you getting the fair share? For instance, if to put in our terms, let's say I am doing all the work, but my boss takes the credit, the promotions, and the salary hike.
Mm.
But I am not getting recognized for the work that I do. What is the recognition I get for work is more work, or probably some things that are not right, or something to control me even further.
Mm.
So when slowly people start realizing either it is controlled through government policies, or controlled through moratoriums, or controlled through taxes, okay, people realize that what they are doing is going in vain, and they just quit.
Okay.
And what John Galt does is he has already discovered this
Motor.
motor.
Mm.
Now he knows it. He has the technology. There is
Yeah.
one abandoned motor at that factory,
Yeah.
which much later Dagny discovers. But she's
Mm.
unable to make it work again because it's
Okay.
all in ruins.
Okay.
So that's how she, travels through the journey and finally connects with John Galt. Um, but then he has created this utopian society where people who have exited from the capitalist that society, they just come there, they are living there. So it's in somewhere hidden in the mountains among the valley. He has created a whole new city. So that is like a secret society kind of where people
Mm.
are free to do things to their complete potential. They are not limited by
Mm.
anyone else.
Okay.
It's that kind of a society that he has created there. And then finally, John Galt is comes out into this original society, and then he is arrested. A lot of things go wrong. He's arrested. He's mistreated. But then he gives a speech. That speech alone is for 60 pages in this book,
Wow. Okay.
explaining what things are.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Um, So that's fully philosophy, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Full of how the primary movers are the one who
Mm.
moves, the world, make
Yeah.
things happening.
Yeah.
So having said that, so this is all that what the book says,
Yeah.
but my understanding is, see, not everyone can be innovators or creators. Not everyone can do very intelligent stuff. No. What it's trying to emphasize is at our capacity, whatever our capacity is, we should be doing our best, not trying to live off others' talent or not by suppressing others. We should be making our living, whether as a writer or as an artist or a
Yeah.
IT person, anyone who we are, we should be giving our best to our profession, and
Mm.
that's how we should be making our living.
Yeah.
So that is what I understand
Yeah.
from this whole thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. That is what my next question is all about. I want to know the personal impacts of this book. So, did reading this book change the way you look at your work or your role in the society?
Yes, it did. Now, I read this book when I had just started my career. Okay, so some 15, 20 years ago, I read this book for the first time. So it was like one of my colleagues said, "Hey, I read this book by Ayn Rand, The Fountainhead. It changed my life."
Mm.
And I was searching for Ayn Rand books and I could get my hands only on this one, The Atlas Shrugged. I couldn't get The Fountainhead back then. So I just started reading. And it totally changed my perspective. Why? Because at that point of time, I found a lot of things not right. Okay. I had just started. My salary was very less.
Mm.
My manager was there. He was not doing any work, but his salary was more. Okay. See, that's how we think, right?
Yeah.
We start. So, all the people who have just joined, we
Yeah.
are working day and night. And what is his manager's job? Just to come and ask, "Hey, have you done the work?" And I say, "I've done the work." Probably he reviews and say, "Okay, correct it, recorrect it, do it this way, do it that way." Give a little bit of guidance here and there.
Yeah.
And that's how I saw things. And I felt it's very unfair, unjust.
Mm.
But once you read it, you realize that at different level, people do different things. Now, when I had joined, whatever work I was doing, it was, yes, long hours, it was technical, it was basics. But then there is the next level where you understand all these things that you do. You need to put in a lot of thought process behind it. You need to orchestrate how to do the thing so that it gets done. And you're able to deliver it as a whole project. I was working on one piece of the pie. He
Mm.
had to deliver the whole pie.
Yeah.
Obviously, he will get paid more. And his boss was delivering multiple pies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then, okay, that's one thing I started realizing. Now, the second thing is be the best at what you do.
Mm.
Okay. So I started instead of, just complaining grudgingly and doing the work over and over, because after some time, any industry you are in, you start feeling things become monotonous because you're doing the same thing again and again. I started doing things smarter. I wanted to learn more. Whatever took me 4 hours to do, I wanted to do in 1 hour. How can I do it? What were the skills that I required? How can I do this better? So when my perspective changed like this, I started acquiring newer skills. So that the same thing, okay, to give an example, it was technical people will understand this. I was into software testing, and that was the time when just something called WebDriver was being tested or being born. And then later it became integrated with Selenium. Selenium WebDriver is a very famous automation tool. So, but this was back when WebDriver were just a couple of jar files, Java jar files. Now, in my quest for doing that 4 hours in 1 hour, I came across this. And I did a POC. POC is a proof of concept. I showed that what I had to do manually, sit and do for 8 hours, can be automated and done in 10 minutes. And people were amazed. Trust me, I had given the same demo to multiple directors within the company because first I showed it to my manager.
Yeah.
Sir, can be done this way. He took me to his boss saying, Priya has done so and so thing. Do you think it's good? He took me to different directors and said, do this POC. Show them in different meetings. So I'll just go, I have done this. Back then, I didn't realize the importance of what I had done. But then the company adopted what I did. So I was one of the first people to do automation using that tool for that product.
Okay. Makes sense.
And
Makes sense.
not much sooner, things started coming my way. I got promoted. I got multiple teams. I became lead. Salary increased X number of times,
Yeah.
totally unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And since then, I've never looked back. Whatever
Nice.
work that I'm doing, I just try to become better and better at
Yeah.
it.
To summarize, I
And
think we have to put your heart and soul in what you're doing and be the best in whatever you're doing. So that is what is your personal take on it.
you are right, Raj. We need to put our heart and soul, but that also might equate to hard work. Hard work alone is not enough. Smart work is required. So this is one story totally unrelated. If you want, you can edit and cut it out. But this is something that I keep telling others. Okay. And kind of this philosophy came in me. One of the main influences is this book. So have you heard of this woodcutter and axe story?
Yeah, before cutting you have to sharp. Is that the one?
Okay, nice. So you have heard.
Yeah. A lot of
All
times,
right. Yes.
being a
So
Toastmaster, you get to hear a lot of philosophical stories over and over. Yeah.
absolutely. So to our viewers who've not heard it, the woodcutter and axe, this is the corporate version where like two people start cutting wood at the same time, but over a period of time, one person does better than the other. Now, he asked, how do you do it? He says, I sharpen my axe before cutting the wood. So he's able to do better. Now, translate it to our professions. Are we sharpening our axe? First of all, do we even know what our axe is? The tool that we are using to work on. So for me, being in IT or the white collar jobs, mostly our axe is our brains. Now, how do we sharpen it? Do we do the same thing over and over again to sharpen it? No, it becomes blunt like the axe if you cut again and again. So what do you use to sharpen it? It's a rough stone. You use it to sharpen it. So like that, if you want to sharpen your brain, doing it over and over again, working harder will only make you tired and blunt and you feel monotonous and bored. The way you sharpen is by doing perpendicular, alternate things that is required for you to do your work better. It could be speaking better. It could be writing better. It could be, even indulging in a sport, which makes you physically more active so that you are more energetic at your work. Or probably even getting into arts, doing drawing and coloring, as simple as that, which makes your brain creative. You bring that creativity into work.
Nice.
So
Thank
everyone
you.
can sharpen our brains differently so that your brain is sharper to do what you really need to do.
Hmm.
So
Beautiful,
this
beautiful.
was how I used to do it. And okay, I'm deviating a lot from the book. So
It's
we'll
okay.
come back
No, I think
to
we
it.
are close to end of the show. I think we will wrap it up. I'm so happy listening to fiction stories because I'm a guy who follows a lot of nonfiction. But thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences. It's really fascinating to see how a book can resonate with you and can grow with you. That is why what I observed, like you started your career and you're still having it in your hand and you're telling this is the book that changed my life. It's fascinating. And I think beyond your insights, we can see your professionalism, your public speaking ability, the way you speak. I'm absolutely, mind blown by the way you share your thoughts and how you relate everything as a very simple story like onion, pie. Those are really fascinating. I'm really happy. I hope our conversation today sparks curiosity to our audience and read the book sometime in their career. And thank you once again for joining us, and let's stay in contact. And thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely, Raj. Thank you so much. So one last message to the viewers is, even in this conversation, I have not been completely able to tell you what is there in the book. There is so much more to it. And this book is something worth reading. I know it's 1,000 pages, I know it's long, but even if you read 10 pages a day, you can finish it in 100 days.
Yeah,
And it's worth transforming your life in 100 days.
absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Priya.
All right. Thank you so much, Raj. Bye.
Hi, you're welcome to the Inspired Reader podcast show.